Friday night, I was watching something on TV, of course, and I had posted about it on Saturday, but, you know, it was a video game that had, you know, a pretty intense storyline to go with it. And there was one part where the characters were, you know, doing a scene, and it was a pretty dark scene. It was definitely reached to that side that just kind of makes you a little uncomfortable. And I immediately then had like a craving to go get some alcohol because it was, you know, it was bothering me, it was making me a little unsettled, you know, and, you know, thankfully we don't carry any alcohol in the house, so, you know, I obviously didn't drink, but it was one of those moments that I was just like, wow, like that just kind of came on out of nowhere, you know, like wasn't really expecting it. And on Sunday was cleaning day, you know, trying to get everybody motivated, trying to get everybody going, you know, to help clean the house, but of course nobody was wanting to get moving. So that was the day that my patience was running short. You know, I was definitely at the point that I was just like, come on, I want to get this done so I can relax for the rest of the day. I don't want to sit here and yell at everybody all day just to clean, you know, and my patience was just getting very, very short. And so then that's when I started thinking about alcohol again, because I wanted to be able to just, you know, take a drink, kind of relax, you know, and get our work done throughout the day, you know. And that's another time that I had once again thought about alcohol. And then on Sunday night, I had went to a meeting, and, you know, on my way to the meeting, the place that we went to, the building that they were having, it was actually right next to a gas station. And I knew that the gas station sold alcohol there. And so I went, you know, into the meeting, and of course the addict side of my brain is thinking like, you know, I can swing in there real quick, I can grab just one, and no one will know. And so I started thinking about, you know, stopping at this gas station on my way out from an AA meeting. Who does that, right? Like, seriously. Like, who goes to an AA meeting and then goes and gets drunk afterwards? I do. That's me. So I went to the meeting, and, you know, they started talking about turning ourselves over to our higher power, turning ourselves over to God, as you may understand him, you know, to take away what we cannot do for ourselves. You know, to give us the decision of what we can't normally would think about or handle in our own accord, because obviously our thinking has not worked. You know, our thinking has gotten into a lot of trouble where we need somebody else to take the wheel for a while. And so I went to this meeting, and there were two people there. One was a girl and a guy, and they were both struggling. One girl was telling her story, and life is just throwing her some bad stuff right now, some just really bad stuff. And she's having, you know, a domestic dispute at home, and she, you know, was talking about how she doesn't normally date like addicts or alcoholics or anything like that, but this particular person had about 9 months of sobriety, so she made an exception and, you know, decided to go with him. And, you know, and he's starting to relapse, and she can't handle it. But her sobriety date was, of course, April of like 2011, and she's like, he can take everything away from me. He can, you know, take my money, he can try and take my house, he can try and take my kids, but she's like, the one thing that he can't take away is my sobriety date. And, you know, and as she's going, you know, talking about this person, she was just calling him like every name in the book. She was obviously very upset about what was going on, and, you know, she just had to get it off her chest. Like, she just had to go to a meeting and be there because she was questioning her sobriety. Like, she said that she was like, this is the closest I've ever been to active addiction without actually doing it. And, you know, just listening to her just kind of, you know, pulled my heartstrings, because obviously she's struggling. She's having a hard time. I mean, if she's thinking about relapsing, you know, relapsing isn't when you put the alcohol in your body, or when you know, do your drugs, or when you, whatnot. Relapsing, it actually starts in the mind. You know, it actually starts like how you start thinking about it, how you're going to do it, how you're going to get there. Are people going to be like expecting you at a certain time? Do you have to be where you are supposed to be? Can I get away with this? Do I have, you know, the whole night off that no one will ever know? Can I hide it? You know, and so relapsing really starts with how you're planning to do it, how it's going to happen, what the reaction is going to be. And it really just starts to mess with your mind, because you're already playing out all these scenarios of what's going to happen. And, you know, I know for me, when I, you know, start thinking about it, it's almost like this click in my head, like this, it just snaps right away. And I immediately at that point, like when I make the decision to be like, yes, I'm doing this, there's no stopping it. Like, there's no way I can stop this. Like, once that trigger is hit, it's done. Like, I've already got everything ready to go, even before I get in my car and go to the store. You know, it starts immediately, and I cannot stop it. And, you know, I've been looking for my triggers, you know, things that would cause me to have cravings, you know, in the last couple days. And, you know, it's literally like someone takes over my body, and I cannot mentally stop this person from doing what they're going to do. So I listened to her story. It was, you know, it was a sad story, but it was, you know, once again, when you think you've got it bad, someone else has got it worse. And then the next person that talked was another gentleman. He's, you know, trying to hold his coffee cup. He's only got 3 days sober, and he pulls out a handful of chips in his hands, and he's like, I even have some chips that are 1 year, 2 years, you know. He's like, but I keep collecting silver chips because I can't stop drinking. And, you know, him telling his story, I very much related to, because, you know, although I don't collect a chip at every meeting, you know, I only collect the ones that I feel like I deserve, whether I've hit 30 days or 60 days or whatnot. I don't, you know, collect a chip at every single meeting. You know, if I do relapse, I don't go get another one because I still have the one that I got before. You know, to me, the medallions or the chip system isn't a piece of my sobriety that I feel is a necessary thing. Yes, it'd be nice. It would be nice to, yes, collect the chips, you know, all the way up through all the months and stuff, but it's not really a big priority for me. And so, you know, he's telling his story too, and I can tell you that, you know, once I got out of the meeting, that craving was gone. I didn't want to stop at the store anymore. I didn't want to go get alcohol because I see what it does to people. I see what it does to others. I didn't get a chance to share at that meeting. There was just too many people there, but, you know, just hearing their stories helped keep me sober that night. And then last night, of course, I went to another meeting, and they were talking about working with others and, you know, going through and just, you know, guiding someone through the book and just taking what you've learned and what you've done, you know, to get your sobriety, and how do you turn that back on someone else. And, you know, sometimes, you know, it doesn't matter if you have 3 days, 3 years, 30 years. You know, sometimes just being there and telling your story can make an effect on somebody else. You know, there was a couple women there that, you know, have gone to women's facilities or women's jails or detox centers, rehabs, you know, all those places, and they just went and told their story. And that's all they did, was they just went and talked and, you know, just told all these other people that are in the same situation as them how they were able to get out of it. And one lady was saying that, you know, she was at a restaurant, you know, eating with her husband, and a woman had approached her and asked her if, you know, this was her, if this was her name. And she's like, yeah, I'm that person. And she's like, you came and spoke when I was in jail, and I heard your story, and I just want to let you know today I'm 6 months sober. And she, you know, has done it so many times that she didn't quite recognize her, but it made her feel good knowing that just by telling her story has helped somebody else. And so regardless if I am 1 day sober, 10 days sober, you know, sometimes just talking about what I'm feeling when I'm getting ready to relapse may help somebody relate to it and choose not to relapse as well, you know. So you know, it was tough. And then this morning, of course, it was cold outside. I didn't want to get out of bed, just wanted to stay in bed. You know, I had a 3-day weekend. You know, although it's, you know, it is in the week, it still feels like today's my Monday. And Mondays are always hard because I never really want to go back to work. I'd like to just stay home all day. Who doesn't, right? And I did think about stopping again this morning. I did think about stopping at that gas station I always go to at 6 o'clock in the morning to buy my alcohol because no one's ever there and they just sell it and let me go. And I did think about that this morning, but I decided to, you know, pull my phone out. I decided to start talking out loud to myself, and that's what kept me sober this morning. Because if I didn't have this avenue that I could use to, you know, just kind of let my mind flow freely, you know, just kind of talk about my thoughts, talk about my feelings, talk about what I'm doing, talk about my sobriety. I probably would have stopped this morning, but I didn't. You know, today's workload's a little bit more than normal just because of like the weekend and the holiday, and, you know, it's technically like my Monday kind of thing. So it was hard for me to want to go to work today without drinking, but I'm glad I did. You know, every day that I'm not drinking is a good day. Every day that I'm thinking about my work, I'm thinking about my kids, I'm thinking about my husband, is much, much better than obsessing. How am I going to get my next bottle? And it really, truly is an obsession. It becomes a point where I cannot stop it. I can't stop it. It's so hard to get out of that spiral whenever I get in it, and it's even harder to not start the spiral. So I'm glad that, you know, I didn't stop this morning. I'm glad that, you know, I get to come to work. I get to have a good day. You know, I'm going to go home tonight sober. I'm not going to stop on my way home. I'm going to call my husband, and we're going to talk almost the entire car drive if I need to. I'm not going to stop today. I'm going to go to a meeting tonight. I'm just going to keep grinding this out until I can finally get to the point where I don't have those cravings, where I don't have that obsession taking over my mind. Because once it's in there, it doesn't come out. It really does not come out. I cannot stop it. Once that person snaps in my head, done. I'm done. I'm drinking for the next 3 days. And I just have to stop allowing that person to take over. I have to find my triggers. I have to do something. I have to have a different avenue than I could go to stop me from drinking. So I hope everybody else has a good day. You know, I'm excited that I get to talk to everybody every day. It really, really helps me. You know, it helps me more than it helps you. And I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their week.